guys, this is me, Malorian, and this will be a Warmachine 101. This is where I take your questions from the Mr. Malorian Facebook page, and I answer them. So we got quite a few of these here, so we might as well jump right into it. First one here comes from Bob Smith, and he says, knowing when to hold back and knowing when to go all in for either a caster kill or a scenario. Now, the scenario one's a lot more simple. When you're looking at going all in on a scenario, you have to, first of all, ask the question, can I win this by scenario? And really the answer to that is, can you keep your opponent from getting into the zone, or can you attrition enough so you can be scoring enough to win? So when you're balancing that, you need to be looking at, do they have tricks like, can they out-attrition you so that they can force themselves into the zone? Can they teleport things in with like shifting stones? Can they trample into the zone? If they have a way of shutting down your scenario, then clearly that's not going to work unless your plan of all-in scenario also includes killing those key pieces. So really the scenario part for should I go all in is really stopping, taking that second, looking at what they have, and determining, likely if the dice go normal, whether they have the tools to get in and stop you, and if they don't, alright, that's a good idea. The assassination one, though, is a lot harder because, if nothing else, it involves dice. Now, when it goes for all in for a scenario, unless you're going for like the attrition way, where I'll just kill everything from the zone, and whenever somebody goes back in, I'll kill it again and dominate, caster kills always have to deal with dice. You have to shoot, you have to melee, you have to whatever, and dice are involved. And whenever dice are involved, there's a risk. There's a risk that, hey, the average is this, but I got that. Sucks to be me. So you have to really keep that in mind, that even though you can do all the math in your head and do all the risk analysis, there is that chunk there that says, hey, guess what? You rolled ones, your opponent rolled sixes, they win. So why would you go into this? Why would you go all in on the scenario? Well, it really has only one basic answer. The one basic answer is that this is your only shot. You know, if you had another option where you could attrition a little bit more or get some better positioning, you would do that. But the reason why you're going all in on assassination is because this has to work. Either you're about to lose by death clock, you're about to lose by scenario, or the attrition is about to take away what options you have now, or maybe this is your opponent used too much fury or focus, or maybe they're not behind cover yet, and this will be your only chance to kill them. You know, maybe you only have like a 10% chance to win with this assassination, but you have to go for it because it's your only chance. And being able to know when that is takes a lot of maturity. It takes a lot to say, you know what, I'm going to look ahead a couple of turns and realize that it's not getting any better. I'm going to lose these pieces, I'm going to lose on death clock, scenario, whatever. Now is the best. This is my only chance. And really, I mean, other than maturity and experience, that's the only way that goes. And then when it's all in, it's all in. We got to make this work. Now, there is one other one where you might go all in for the scenario, and that's for something else. So that's if, let's say, hey, I'm playing this game, I know I'm a better player, I have an advantage, I know I can play this one out, and I'm going to win. But right now, I have an 85% assassination, and you know what? I'd rather have this game go 15 minutes as opposed to an hour and a half, because maybe this is in a convention, and I just want to have time to relax, I want time to go have lunch, to go have a bathroom break, and taking that 85%er is worth it for the long run. So that's a little bit separate. You know, in one case, you're having to really look forward into the future and realize that, hey, this is my only chance, I better go all in for the assassination right now. And the other one is saying, hey, I have to get some food, I have to do whatever, let's finish this game so I have some time. Now, that's really that part, and so really, when do you hold back? Any other time, right? going all in should be something you should be trying to avoid. These are usually desperate situations, so a lot of times you might do something where like, hey, let's just do a little tester. Let's see if Epic Iris hits the shot, takes away the focus, and if so, all right, we can do this. Or maybe I'm going to try and take this shot here. They'll kill that shield guard. It's kind of like a 10%er, but hey, if that goes off, I can keep on going. Make sure that if you are doing some of these assassinations, you can do those little steps where like, okay, this part's unlikely, or maybe it is likely, but highly, highly critical. Let's try it first. And if it connects, I'll keep going. If not, let's go with plan B. So you can always go through those things as well. But again, just to finally answer that, again, when to go all in, when either you're desperate or you need to pee. Next one here comes from Justin Calvert, and it says, how would you recommend playing against new players? I have several years experience and would like you to get your take on the balance between playing hard and when to keep it fun. The first and major part you have to keep in mind with this is the context of the game. Is this game a casual game? Is it a preparation for a tournament? Or is it an actual tournament game? Now, if it's a casual event, for God's sakes, teach the guy. He's a new player. Your honor of being like, I'm the best player this side of Texas. It doesn't matter. Go in there and teach him how to play. Explain it. Have it fun. Show him what this game is about and show him why it's fun. Make this enjoyable for him so that he'll come back and play again, or her. In that context there's just no reason. Maybe just throw the game, right? Be like, hey, look, I put my caster here. If you do this and this and this, you're probably going to kill me. Who cares if they say like, oh, you lost to the new guy? Well, come on, no. I was teaching the new guy. It was a casual game. Okay, next step. What if it's like a preparation for an event? This is more of a serious get-together. It's not really a tournament, but it's like, all right, guys, bring your good stuff. In this case here, you do want to kind of step it up, but I would go to the point where you're almost also an ambassador or an advisor to your opponent as well. Saying, okay, look, I'm going with Kane 2, and I'm going to defeat and I'm going to kill you. So to try and set this up, I'm moving Kane here so that I can kill you. Go and try and stop it, but realize I have this threat range, I have this many shots, you really need to protect yourself, right? And in this way, you're kind of lead them on. It's not really like happy, happy, fun time. You yourself are running through the regular steps. You are doing what you'd normally do in a tournament, but you're kind of also playing both sides of this and saying to them like, look, I'm doing this because of this. And this way, you're not playing something silly. You are doing exactly what you would do in a tournament, but you're teaching that new player at the same time. And likely, if that new player is at this, they're trying to get ready for a tournament. And if you can get them into that sort of mindset, you're really going to help them. Last one, if it's a tournament and it's like go time, all right, now you have to kind of get this thing done. One of my actually favorite ways I like seeing this is okay, new guy, let's do this. Okay, Kane 2 just killed you. That's okay. That's okay. That's what Kane 2 does. Let's write down those scores. And look, we still have 2 hours left. Let's play again. And this time, I'm going to really walk you through it. That's what I really find is usually the best thing. Sometimes you can't do that because the way your list plays isn't really set up for that. But what you can do is try and set your opponent up for small wins, where it's like, okay, look, I'm going to win on scenario here, but all these guys ran up, and you can get all these crazy charges. I'm about to kill your caster, but before I do this, oh no, look, you killed my heavy. You can do a little bit like that, where you give a little, it's like a little treat of like, okay, I know I'm destroying you, but here is some candy just to say I'm sorry. But again, if you can, I've actually found it a lot better just to be like, fast, done. Let's do a game 2 for more funsies. Unless it is a really casual event, tournaments, the tournaments is really too all-encompassing. You know, I'm kind of keeping in mind like this is like the big event or whatever, but you know what? It might just be a casual tournament, and if that's the case and there's a new player, then that kind of brings it back to that older part of the context we talked about where, you know what, just walk them through it and or have a little bit more fun, right? If it's not for a trophy, if it's not for anything super serious, you know, have fun with it. But in the end, just make sure that the whole goal behind this is that if you keep on turning away all the new players, you might have a couple of trophies on your shelf, but if you have killed the meta, well, they're going to be kind of useless. Because they'll be like, oh, you got Warmachine tournament trophies? Whatever. We're all playing Guild Ball now because some jerk kept on turning away all the new players. So, something to keep in mind there. Alright, next one here comes from Anthony Candela, and it says, if this has already been asked, excuse me, but I'm a bit behind on the Warmachine 101 series. And how do you prepare for tournaments depending on your experience and skill level? This is definitely one we covered before, so if you're waiting for this, Anthony, you might want to just go back to like the last couple, because we talked about them there. But just like to be like super fast with this, if you're new and you're going into a tournament, just go into it to get the experience. Grab the 2 lists that you know the best. Don't do all this like, for the meta, I gotta do this and I gotta counter this. No, you're going there to first experience a tournament, grab what you're comfortable with, get in there. If you are experienced, stop, look at your lists, look at your weaknesses, look at what is popular in the meta where you currently are playing. If Jimmy always wins because he takes Gatsby 2, for God's sakes, make sure you have an answer for Gatsby 2. So, really fast, and if you want more, it's in the last video. Next one here from Donald Schaefer, just saying, just check out last week's. But he also says, my question is tips for playing when you are heavily disadvantaged, like list chicken that you lost. So this happens. Sometimes you do the list chicken and you're like, there's no way they're going to take list A, because if I drop my list A, you know, it's dead for sure. He's totally going to go for list B. And you go for this, and he goes for list A. He was really ballsy, or maybe it was just a coin flip, who knows what. But you find yourself in this bad situation. Well, the first thing to look at is really study what is the bad situation. Is it because they can try and out-attrition you? Is it because they can go for the assassination? Can you not stop the scenario? And then whatever it is that they're going to have that advantage in, do what you can to stop them, but then you have to really push on something else. So let's say, for example, I am up against, I'm up against Denegra 2. And I know they're going to go for scenario. I know they're going to win for scenario. So I'm going to do my best to stop them from winning from scenario. But at the same time, I am going to put all my effort and all my other activations I can afford into going for assassination or something. Or let's say I'm up against Kane 2. There is no way I can keep my caster alive with Kane 2. Okay, that's fine. My caster then is going to run and hide, and I'm going to try and instead try and make it so that maybe I can get desperately over here for a scenario, or maybe I'm going to go for Death Clock. I'll be like, here's a few more guys. Oh no, you killed them on your 10-minute turn while my caster's hiding. Okay, my caster's going to run here. Are you watching this? Are you watching the sparkly thing? Here's a few more models going off your clock, right? You can always go for that, but more often for not, this kind of goes back to what we said before, where it seems like usually the answer to these things is just going for that assassination. You might have a 5% assassination, but it might be your only chance to win. So that's really it. Alright, next one here from my buddy Mike Anthony. And he's going to ask, because it's a little bit for what he wants to know against me, what is the best strategy for dealing with a jam list that intends to block you out of objective zones when your list is not a jam list? Well, the very first thing is that my strategy is to run up into your face. That's it. I'm going to run into you. So what you need to do, first of all, is that if you have any opportunity to take first turn, for love of God, take it. because if you don't, I'm going to take up all the board. That's the advantage of going first in the game of Warmachine, is to claim more of the board. And if that is my win scenario, well then I clearly want that. So if you see someone who is going to try and jam you out of the board and you win the initiative, I don't care if terrain is crazy or whatever, go first. You know, it would have to be really extreme for that not to be the case. Step 2 is order of activations is going to be extremely critical. The whole idea I'm trying to find, I want to grab models and make me like show the jamming, but I don't want to damage the paint on any of the guys I have here on the table. Don't have any plastic. Anyway, my whole thing is I'm just going to be jamming these models into your face and say like, okay, go ahead, kill some of these guys. You have not moved up the board at all, and I'm just going to keep you out while I'm scoring over here. Well, what's going to be very important then is that you're working your order of activations to be clawing your way into the zones. So maybe you have to really make sure that, okay, I'm going to cast this AoE here, I'm going to blast these models, so I'll clear up a little spot to get into the zone, and then I'm going to move this heavy into the zone, and I'm going to hold it that way. Or maybe this is going to be a multiple turns thing. Maybe you have to realize that in order to get into there and claw into there, I'm going to have to give up 2-3 control points. But I'm going to use that time to attrition as much as I can, and then have it at the point that now I've attritioned you so far down that you may be up on scenario, but now once I kill this and put this heavy in the zone, you're in a lot of trouble. Now, another thing with those careful activations is look for the models that are really helping out that jam. So if there's recursion, if there is, let's say, Alexia 1, if there are some necrosurgeons rather, those guys have to die, because the whole point of me like jamming things in your face is I need things to jam in your face. And that's usually where the recursion comes into that. So if you can find some way to kill that necrosurgeon, to kill that Alexia 1, to kill that Enigma Foundry, that will be a high priority to stop that recursion. Another thing is you could have support models like maybe there's Rupert, which is giving tough, or maybe, I don't know what else, maybe this is Haley 3 and you want to kill off future Haley to take away the recursion spell. What's her thing? Now I'm feeling dumb here. Revive, there you go. See, they don't have revive anymore. Anything like that so that you can really push them back. And that's probably really it. I mean, another thing you can look at jam lists as well is that sometimes the jam player is so focused on the jam that they don't really think about the assassination. You know, they're just like, guys, caster over here to try and dominate, and I've used my focus to kind of clear out zones, and I figure I have so many things in your face that I don't realize there's that tiny little hole where you can kill my caster. Look for those holes. Look for the spot to get to the caster. I've seen lots of games where, say, like Axis is throwing all those convergence models in your face, and then the person says like, oh, see that Axis there? Pew pew, he's dead. And then like, okay, game's over. Or it's happened to me. Jam. Oh, damn it, I forgot to really protect Kane 2. You got the shot in, I'm knocked down, whatever, I'm dead. Damn it. You know, I jammed you out and the jam was working, but you just cleared that one little line of sight through all the waves of dudes, and you got to my caster, and there you go. So that's, again, more of the desperate answer. Again, the better one is to look for those key models and be very careful with those order of activations to force things into the zone and to make up that time. Next one here comes from Matthew Lindsay, which is a little bit different. And it says, what is the best way to deal with Weapon Master lists? Examples here are like Doomreaver lists, but it could also be like Crix with all their Weapon Masters, their Banes. So the biggest thing here is, what do Weapon Master lists want to do? They want to come in and they want to be trading cheap models to kill off heavy models. You know, if I have a bunch of Banes and you have a bunch of medium infantry, this is great, because I'm just going to go and clear those guys out. So right away at the list chicken stage, where you're offering up your list and you're seeing them, if you see one list that has a whole bunch of Weapon Masters, for God's sakes, don't drop all your heavy stuff, because that's exactly what they want to see. Again, depending on what all the list combinations are, you might have to be forced into that. But in general, if, like for my example, when I have my wrecker list that has all these wreckers, if I'm up against something with a bunch of weapon masters, I'm not going to drop that. Because I know that you can go in there and kill off my heavies really easy with your weapon masters, and then I'm screwed. So, take your other list. Now, let's go to the next thing. What do these weapon master lists normally do? Swarm, 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 and swing. They all just want to get in there, they want to charge, they want to kill your heavies, and normally to make sure those things happen, they have to dedicate a lot. Now, what you can do with that is feed a little. You know, if you're up against something that has like a bunch of Doomreavers or something like that, feed that stuff in, bring them in, and then once they're all piled up because they went after that one strong model, blast the hell out of them. Hit them with AoEs, sprays, wipe them out, draw them together. So baiting can be a huge one. That's even bigger with, say, like Doomreavers, where you want them to berserk on each other, so you want to feed them a few models. So it's like, yeah, if you come in here and you kill me, you got to be very careful because you'll kill the other guys. Now, at the same time, the weakness of the list is shooting. Weapon masters, I mean, there are going to be some examples here like Satrati, where they're weapon masters and have high armor, but in general, things like Banes and things like Doomreavers, their biggest weakness will be just shooting. So if you have a shooty list as opposed to your double colossal list, take that shooty list, and that's going to help you a lot. So otherwise, if I have the perfect storm, and I'm up against Doomreavers, and I have a lot of shooting, and I have a few throwaway models, that'll be great. I'll throw a few up there, I'll keep on shooting, and I'm going to eventually try and wear them down while not giving up a lot. That's going to be like your best case scenario. Also, if you have any board control, if you have a board control caster, or if you have board control elements, that's going to again help you as well. It's just really more anti-melee tech. So hopefully that helps. In general, another one, if we are getting specific to Doomreavers, go for Butcher. Because Butcher, a lot of times, again, it's almost like the whole jam thing, right? I got all these Doomreavers. Look, they're all in your face. And Butcher's kind of strolling around just waiting to feed. Well, watch that Butcher. And if he spends too much focus, shoot him down. Because he has a medium base. You can see him all over all the Doomreavers. So watch for those good chances to maybe go for that assassination. But otherwise, yeah, don't play into their game. Play for their weaknesses. Last one here comes from Travis Coles. He is actually a store owner up in Fort McMurray with Tactical Magic Games. And this one here I think is more of an inside thing, I'm guessing. But his is, if your feat knocks down things and your command range is 12, do you get greedy and try to get Kaelissa, the Knight's Whisper, in the effect as well when you can kill her that turn? So, there must be something inside, because if you're saying in your question you're going to be killing her that turn and you have a way to knock her down, I can't think why you would not do that. I don't know if I'm missing something. You know, it's not like that's Magnus 1 and when you knock them down they have feigned death and you can't attack them. In general, if you're going for the assassination and you have a chance to knock down Kaelissa, do it. So, maybe I'm missing something here. I'm not really sure. Maybe this is more of an element of if I'm going for the assassination, but it's going to involve knocking down my own caster. Is that a good thing? Well, the answer would be no, unless this is your like all in. This has to work. So caster be damned. I don't know. I can't think of why this would not be a big thing to do. Maybe if you're Krios and you're saying, hey, I could charge up, pop feet, catch her Kaelissa in that feat and knock her down, or I could be, you know, casting spells instead of doing that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a time when you'd not want to knock down a caster that you're trying to kill, and something specific here where it's Kaelissa and you have a command range of 12. I don't know what we're really getting at here. So I'm sure there's some sort of inside joke, but yeah. knockdown effects that are really good. Look out for them because they're awesome. So there you go, guys. Again, I do this every Friday. We're on the Mr. Malorian Facebook page. I ask for questions, and on the weekend, I answer them. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you again later. Bye.